Good Monday. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Well, we've been talking about strategies for 2013, and those strategies are based on what the Fed is going to do or not do in here. So when we look at this on an overall basis for the Fed, don't bet against the Fed. That we have to look at it from their vantage point, that they have their performance goals in terms of unemployment, in terms of inflation. So when we say don't bet against the Fed, is that we really need to be looking at where those two inflation rate, unemployment rates are, and that means that the Fed will continue to buy assets in here, keeping interest rates low. How low, especially with the 10-year Treasury moving up over 2% after the unemployment rate last week? Well, look at their long-term inflation outlook in terms of being at 1.5% on the 10-year. So you need to look at that we most likely will be in this range between 1.5% to 2% like we have been over the last year. That will most likely continue. So don't bet against the Fed. We go back to a number of webcasts. We want to look at this now on an overall basis because we talked about net overhead. And what we mentioned last week is to go to www.sbnoh.com, where we're going to be posting ideas in terms of reducing net overhead. When we look at that, is that non-interest income. What do we do in here? Well, we've given you a number of ideas over the past webcasts. For instance, look at maxing out your bank-owned life insurance, your BOLI. Look at adding or improving your investment business. And we had suggested taking a look at IPI as a firm that can definitely get your performance higher. When we look at non-interest expense, that's one of the things as we look forward that we talk about in that net overhead section, that we need to be looking at this on a going forward basis in terms of how can we reduce down non-interest expense in here. So when we look at these, that this is going to be the future of community banking in our mind is net overhead control and getting net overheads down into really high performance type levels. Because the point that I've made before, if one bank can do it, why can't you do it at your bank? But we come to, of course, the net interest income. And what I've been talking about here is that we really need to be increasing this in total dollars. That means we need to grow. And where that doesn't seem right in this kind of rate environment maybe, well, you have to look at the numbers in terms of how your bank can grow their net interest income, either by adding loans or by adding investments. So one idea, I had board meeting at Embassy Bank, where I'm a community bank director. And we threw out the idea in terms previously of offering a lower rate for the first year of your loan. Interestingly enough, one of our directors got a call from Merrill Lynch. They're offering that same kind of deal to him. So we went back and we revisited that idea. And what we threw out, if we're expecting in here that the Fed is going to keep interest rates low through probably 2015, that 2-year time period in here, why not offer an incredible rate to people on their loan for the first 2 years at 1.99%? And then it would go up to a current rate level. So that puts assets on your books. For instance, most of our directors felt that the phone won't stop ringing if you offer this kind of rate for the first 2 years on commercial loans. Then you look at if interest rates do start to head up in 2015, at least these assets are going to reprice up higher. But it gives us the growth factor because we need to grow loans. We know that competition is increasing because everybody else wants loans. So how can we get them at a rate that is going to be a good rate to have on our books and at the same time will be the kind of growth that we need? So we need to be thinking differently. We need to be thinking in terms of not betting against the Fed, and within that we can form our strategy for 2013 so that we can prosper as community banks and be able to thrive during a very difficult period of time. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried & Brew. Have a great week.